Hey, what's up, guys? It's about 4 in the morning right now. I just happened to have woken up by sheer chance at 4 in the morning. So whatever, I just started surfing YouTube for a few minutes, randomly, and I found a video. He's like a guy who reviews video games on YouTube, the Angry Joe Show, I believe he's called. He actually mentioned some people were pissed off that one of the female characters in the new Metal Gear game was, supposedly objectified or whatever. And as I watched the video, it occurred to me something I've thought of before. That a lot of people have pointed out that, when you got women feminists like Anita Sarkeesian claims that women are objectified in games, and she spends all her time, and she's made her thousands of dollars claiming that women are victims of some kind of objectification, oppression, and the way that they're portrayed in video games. And one of the obvious hypocrisies of her theory is that men are objectified in nearly every single video game. Men are objectified in nearly every single fucking game. Okay, the man has to be strong. The man has to be confident and charismatic. The man has to be the hero. And although feminists like Anita Sarkeesian will claim that their intention is, but we should get rid of those gender roles. There's no reason that men should be held up strictly to that standard. Women can be part of it too. We can all be equally part of it. The truth is that when you think about it, it kind of reveals something about the true intention of feminism. They clearly don't care when men are quote-unquote objectified. They don't care when men are strong and men can accomplish things. In fact, that's basically what they want the female characters in games to become. They want the female characters in games to become like men. They don't want the female characters to have, huge breasts and, not necessarily that they're opposed to huge breasts, but they don't want a sexualized. They don't want a woman who is sexualized. They don't want a woman who is feminine. So the truth is that feminists like Anita Sarkeesian and anybody who complains about objectification, their real ultimate goal is to eradicate the female gender. That's just fundamentally what their goal is. If you make a woman in a video game look too feminine, either she's too passive or too damsel-like, or her tits are shown off too much, because, if you show off a woman's tits, that's just, feeding into male desire for women's bodies. If you do any of that, it's a crime. But if you portray women as being almost essentially identical to the male characters, it doesn't matter if the male character is quote-unquote objectified. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong if the male character has to live up to these standards of heroism and masculinity. The average feminist rarely, if ever, points out the clear and obvious objectification of men. Men as these strong, rock-solid triumphs of masculine strength, overcoming any of their fears to confront challenges and be courageous, strong, witty, oftentimes funny and charismatic. All these resourceful characteristics that men are expected to develop in order to become attractive to the opposite sex. Anita Sarkeesian isn't doing videos about so-called male objectification. In fact, her videos are about encouraging women in games to be more like men. So the irony here is that, again, feminism is a bizarre, paradoxical, ironic form of masculinism that hates the female gender, that's right, and hates femininity. It wants women to become men. The ultimate goal of feminism is the eradication of women. Okay, some radical feminist once came out and said that, she fucking hated being a woman, and that she equated giving birth to shitting out a pumpkin or some kind of shit like that. Like just complete self-hatred through and through of being the receptive gender. Feminism is fundamentally about self-hatred and a whiny sense of entitlement. In a bizarre sense, it's actually pro-masculinity. But it's only masculine for women. If you're a man and you're masculine, you're portrayed as a pig, a savage, a brute who needs to be domesticated. Meanwhile, women are encouraged to become more masculine. It's a very disturbing borderline mental disorders is essentially what feminism is. And it's absolutely anti-woman. Feminism is absolutely anti-woman. And it's evident in the way that Anita Sarkeesian shames feminine women in video games, yet doesn't shame masculine men in video games, when almost every male character is quote unquote objectified. The reason she doesn't talk about objectification in male characters, and the reason she wants this, death of feminine characters, is because she thinks that masculinity is great. Anita Sarkeesian thinks masculinity is so fucking amazing that she wants to chop women's breasts off and make them as much like men as possible. It's a hatred of femininity. So the ultimate goal of feminism is to eradicate the female gender, transform women into basically men. Probably they wouldn't mind if they could force all women to get surgeries to attach penises between their legs. And essentially, murder femininity. It's fucked up.
That's not very traditional, and I think that a man should really pay for the first date.
Fuck that. We're splitting the bill.